Hi everybody, and welcome to Traveling with Russell, and welcome to a new video, and welcome to Moscow region. Now, I'm nowhere near Moscow today, but I thought I'd show you the most famous and the biggest chain of supermarkets in all of Russia. It's right behind me, and I thought I'd show you what the absolute most typical supermarket in Russia really looks like. Let's go. One thing I will point out is it's not in a particularly populated area of the town where I am. There is actually a new bridge they're building over the train line, so it's a little bit cut off from most of the population of this town. There's been a lot of snow here in the last few days, so you can see how much is accumulated. There is actually a nice little car park as well, and there is a few houses just off behind this building. But most people, as you can see, are driving into this place, and I think a few people might walk in, and the local train station for the town is just off in the distance. And Pyatyorochka is actually my favorite store in all of Russia. Now, I do get asked it a lot, where do you like to shop? What's your favorite store? It's this, and I think once you've seen it, you'll understand why. Just for a little bit of background about the store we're going to go visit, it's called Pyatyorchka, and it's very famous for the number 5 that you can see there, and the number 5 in Russian is Pyat. So this is the most famous store in all of Russia, primarily because it's the most recognizable store and it's the most numerous of stores throughout Russia. There is more than 20,000 of these in Russia. All over Russia, from where I am here in Moscow region over to the far east of Russia. They are literally everywhere. Now, if you're not from Russia, you're going to be in for a bit of a shock, I think, at what kind of typical Russian supermarket this is, and how well stocked it is, and how nice it is. Let's head on inside. The actual store is open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. till 11 p.m. So plenty of trading hours, 7 days a week. Now, I want you to compare this as much as possible with your local typical supermarket, wherever you are in the world, and tell me how it compares. As I walk in, it's nice and warm. Finally, after being outside, there is actually the baskets here. And this is kind of unique in that it's a basket with wheels, and it's got 2 of them that you can put on there. There's no big baskets in this store, and there's a whole lot of the plastic baskets and the ones with the wheels that you can pull around. Very, very typical for Russian supermarkets. If you're interested in getting a job here, it even tells you the salary and the working hours, and this is far and above what most people keep telling me is the average salary in Russia. So if you want a job, check it out. Now, we're going to go in this second door, which is kind of the airlock to come on inside. And as soon as we walk in, it gets very nice and warm in here and nice and cozy. Now, it actually is a very big supermarket. If you compare it to most Pyatyorochkas, this is quite a bit larger than the one nearest to where I live. Now, interestingly, this is the 6th Pyatyorochka in this region, and I have a couple of them very close to where I live. This one's quite a bit further away, but there's 6 of these that I can come shopping at if I want to. Here's the current specials and promotions. Milk chocolate. How about maybe if you like picnic? I'm not a big fan of these personally. I like the brand of chocolate, but not the type of chocolate. Also Lay's chips. Now what we'll try and do is walk around and do as fewer takes as we can so that you can see it all in real time as I walk around. So the first thing we're going to see here is fruit and vegetables. And on one side is probably the biggest selection of tomatoes you're going to find. 7 different types of tomatoes, cucumbers, cabbage, potatoes, and then as we wrap around, there is some, I would say, exotic fruits. There's even coconuts right there, and they're on special. Come on. Wow. And avocados. Now these, I call them pomegranates. Anybody have a different name for them? I think also, these look like mangoes as well. They look a little bit green, but of course, seasonally, the fruit and vegetables are going to vary quite a fair bit in Russia. There is also a refrigerated area for some of the leaf vegetables. Now, if you're wondering about how the pricing works, the normal white tags are the all-the-time prices. And then where you see yellow tags, these are the things that are on promotion. So they'll either be weekly or fortnightly or monthly specials. There's also some pickled vegetables here as well in containers. And then off on the left, all the different fruits. Lots of oranges. I think these are melons, are they? Or perhaps these are grapefruit. I don't know all my fruits too well. There is quite a big selection of apples. And there's also some dried fruits and nuts here as well. These are by weight, so you can just scoop out what you want. Also some dried mango right there, which I've not seen in some of the stores before. And then the rest of this refrigerated section, there's some chilled drinks right here. A little bit mixed, so you got a bit of beer and a bit of soft drink. Now, I want to point this out because I think it's kind of interesting. This is a very typical Russian drink right here. 66 rubles. Now, just remember that number. And then if we come over to beer, have a look right here and get a can of beer for 51 rubles. Isn't that just mind-blowing? That beer is cheaper than soda. Now, I need you to let me know where you live. Is it like that in the city or country where you are? If it's the same way that they structure the pricing. Here is some ready meals. There's plenty of different types of salads. And I think some different seaweeds up there. There's also some juices. So these ready meals, you just take them and microwave them and heat and eat them. They do actually have right here, pretty interesting little section. There's actually a couple of seats here, and there's some plugs. So if maybe you want to relax for a little while or charge your phone, you can do that. And what I find very interesting is they've got a self-checkout in the middle of the store. Now this is if you want to buy yourself something from the bakery or one of the ready meals, or if you want to pay for coffee, and then you can actually just check it out and you can sit right down and relax here, and you don't have to go to the exit of the store to pay for, you know, a coffee and things like that. And they've actually got a machine here so you can make your own coffee. Just choose which type it is. It's pretty straightforward. And then also, if you want to heat up one of those meals, there's a microwave and you can just sit down. It's not a very big seating area, I must admit, but the view outside's nice with the snow, and you can just chill out for a little while. Does your local supermarket have that? Now, going back about nearly 2 years ago, I made a video at my local Pyatyorchka, and I pointed out the selection of bread. And if you have a look at the back here, they actually bake the bread in store. It's probably a little bit hard to see the machines and the refrigerators, but these pastries and breads are produced in the store. And my favorite item is this garlic bread right here, 60 rubles. And this is very nice. Now, depending on what time of day you come, you might even get it hot and fresh. And then they've got the focaccia, also 60 rubles, so about 80 cents US for a focaccia loaf. This is very nice. You can make very beautiful sandwiches with that. If you want to see a tour of the factory where this is made, I've actually been to it. It's over in St. Petersburg, and you can watch that as another video on the channel. There is also a regular bread area here where this would be made off-site and then brought to the store, and plenty of choices. There's probably about 30 types of bread in this supermarket, but if you really want the fresher loaves, right here are the ones you can slice them up, sandwiches, or if you maybe want to put them in the toaster. Very, very nice. Now what I might do is walk around the outside. You can see how big this place is and how wide the aisles are. Now I am here on a Wednesday afternoon. It's just after 3 p.m. It's just slowly getting dark as well. It gets dark about 4 or 5 p.m. in winter here in Russia, so I've decided to come in the afternoon. Lots of nice cakes here. My favorite one right here with cream cheese inside. These are very nice. These circles, as I like to call them. Someone needs to correct me what they're called, really. And then if you have a look at the rest of the refrigerators all the way down, lots of different types of sausages and hams, salamis. Then we come to the meat section, as it says there on the top left, and lots of choices of chicken and pork and beef. Now, very typically, a lot of people would go to a local butcher's, and if you walk about 10 minutes from here, there is a food market with different butchers inside, and you can get, you know, fresh pieces of meat literally butchered right there. Whereas this sort of supermarket, obviously, it's the packaged meat products which will be brought to the store, which I think everybody in the world buys who doesn't go to a butcher shop. And as we keep going, then we've got lots of choices of seafood and salmons. Lots of choices. Maybe you want some different sliced salmons. There's a lot to choose from. Perhaps some different cured fish or smoked fish. Maybe also some mussels and seafood. And then the actual dairy section keeps on going. I didn't realize how large it is. Also here, mayonnaise. And we've got different butters. Contrary to everybody's belief, they don't padlock butter like I've seen in some videos. Butter is just accessible right in the fridge. Then we come over to cheeses. And there's probably about 30 or more different types of cheese right here. And then this last section is all the drinkable yogurts, which is good for the kids and adults like me. I love these strawberry ones over here. These are very delicious. They're actually an easier drink than buying a can of cool drink or soda, if that's something you don't want when you're thirsty. And then a nice selection of yogurts. There's a lot of choices of yogurt. I don't know how my wife comes into this kind of store and chooses, because it's not just, you know, the fact there's, you know, 10 different brands, then there's another 10 different flavors on top of that. Come over here then to different types of creams and cottage cheese. And then finally the milk section and the classic bottles of milk. So they'll actually have an area with long life milk, and this is the traditional milk that's refrigerated. I'm really hoping this video isn't going to go on too long. I'm trying to do it in just a couple of takes, but I definitely want to make sure I show you every part of this store, because this is as typical of a supermarket as there is in all of Russia. And with 20,000 locations, that's just insane to think about how many of these Pyatyorochkas there are in all of Russia. Continuing on the tour here, you can actually see the long life milks, which are almost opposite the milk fridge. I walk past not noticing them. Plenty of different choices. Someone has to tell me Did Parmalat leave Russia or not? I'm almost certain they mentioned they were going to, but they're definitely here and on the shelf. Come round to the kids section and different children's products, and then all of the baby food. I think a lot of people would recognize Nestle as a brand, and then mostly other Russian brands of baby food. Now, where you live in the world, do you have water that's made for kids versus a normal bottle of water? I never knew there was a difference. Obviously there is. And then we come over here then to the regular beer section. Now what they do, they like to put the beer snacks next to the beer, which I think is genius, because you've got the choice then of getting some snacks at the same time and getting inspired by all the different beer snacks, different flavors of Lay's chips, and then all the different canned beers. The one thing that's quite unique, I think maybe in Russia and Europe generally, is the beers are sold individually. Now in Australia, as an example, we only can buy them generally in a pack of 6 or 24, which is a case. And then if you go to bigger stores, they may have single canned beers or bottle beers. But in Russia, that single can option is very popular. There is actually also some zero alcohol beers. Somebody needs to tell me what the benefit is to that. I guess at the end of the day, you're not getting drunk. But should I be drinking them rather than normal beers? There is a small frozen section here. Some different things you can put in the oven. Mostly the snacks that the kids love, I think. We really don't eat any frozen items personally, my wife and I. Lots of different types of oats right here. And then a long section of sachet herbs and spices. So if you're going to do cooking or marinating, or anything that's going to involve maybe some different types of meats, you have a big section of these. And in our cupboard at home, we've got a little plastic container with these all stacked in there. Frozen vegetables, and there's even frozen chips as well. Not sure how many people really buy frozen vegetables in Russia. There's so much availability of normal vegetables. I don't think it's really necessary. The alcohol section continues around the corner, and there's also the different fruity beers. Is that what they call them? I'm not sure of the name of these flavored ones. And there's some bigger bottle beers in the brown plastic containers. And then the alcohol section. And the one thing in this store, it's completely open, so you can just grab whatever you want and go and pay for it at the register, which is just off in the distance. And the lady there checking a few people out. But more than enough choices. Perhaps Stolichnaya. I think it's probably a very well known, it says Russian vodka. Depending on where you live in the world, it might be made in Latvia as well. But just about 500 rubles, so about $6 for a 700 milliliter bottle. I wonder how that compares to where you are in the world. And then over here, nice selection of wines. Plenty of choices. Now I'm trying to walk around nice and slowly so you can get a good idea of all the choices. And here is some different brandies. Brandies are very popular in Russia. They're kind of similar to cognacs in a way, but just better value in terms of the price. I think one of their ice cream fridges isn't running, and all the candy, and we'll come back to the registers towards the end of the video. I didn't want to make this video about pricing. I really want to do a standalone video where I specifically point out different prices of things. But there is a 8-pack of toilet roll here for just on $2 US. Maybe how does that compare to where you live? This is a pretty popular brand as well in Russia. And you know, the toilet roll was a big thing a couple of years ago around the world. And they do have also the cheap, classic, most traditional Russian one you can possibly get right here for about 30 cents. For me, really, the branded toilet roll is just as cheap, really. And you can find more than enough of them on special to not have to buy the low-cost one. All of the packaged pet foods. I think most people recognize the brands. Whiskers right there. And then I see for the dogs the pedigree. Plenty of choices. And then come around to the personal care items. And how many choices we've got of toothpaste, shampoos. And there's a bit of a home section here as well with some containers. We've actually got these exact ones in our kitchen. This exact container, I've got a set of them in our one of our cupboards with all the different things in them, rice and cereals and things like that. And stuff for cleaning the kitchen or bathroom, washing detergent. Let me see if I can walk around the next couple of aisles a little bit faster, get more things in the video. Good selection of chocolate. My Alpine Gold right here. This is my favorite. I used to be a big fan of Milka, but the price of Milka has gone up a little bit in the last year or so. And I'm more than happy to enjoy other Russian chocolate on the shelf. All of the different cartons of juice and plenty of choices as well. I've also seen somebody point out in the videos that there isn't the ink to produce these cartons of juice, but quite clearly there is. Also coffee over here and tea. So around about 40 different types of coffee. Teas, I'd say there's probably about 40 types also. So lots of choices. These different juices. And then sodas. Of course, you know, I've covered this extensively on the channel over and over, so I won't really talk about it too much. This is my other favorite lemon, lime and mint soda that I like at the moment right here. And then choices of water. How does this compare to the store where you live? And not necessarily the pricing, I think that's obviously very difficult to judge dollar for dollar, but you know, how does this compare to your local typical supermarket? Now keep in mind where we are here, we can walk another 5 minutes to another store. We can walk another 10 minutes to a big food market right by the train station. So this isn't going to be a very popular store. You know, it's going to be really more shopped by people who live in this nearby micro district, and then people that perhaps drive their car to and from this area. I think I've come across the snacks and biscuit aisle. There is always so many choices of different candy, biscuits, sweets, treats. I think there's a bit of a payoff with all the healthy food and the fresh food. You've got to have some opposite, and all of the sweets and treats that they've got in the store. This is the pay-by-weight candy and lots of choices. Pretty simple here, you just put a handful in a bag or as much as you like, and you buy it by the gram. So you don't have to get a whole bag of something, and you can get a few different choices as well. Also lots of different types of dry biscuits and tea biscuits here. As I've been walking around and, you know, pointing out how extensive the store is and how many choices there are and selection, we then come to the egg section and how little there is. And if you've maybe watched some sort of news about Russia in the last few weeks, there was the crisis in Russia and the shortage of eggs, and we couldn't buy eggs anywhere in Russia. And safely, every store you walk in, you can still buy eggs. There's just not as many choices right now. But the classic box of 10 eggs is 110 rubles, about $1.30. And there's a couple of different choices, not too much difference in price. But you can definitely buy a carton of eggs. Just take note though, it's a carton of 10. Most places in the world it's 12. And there is also a tray of 30 eggs down the bottom there for 340 rubles. So just about under $4 for 30 eggs. How does that compare to where you live? You know, it's amazing the whole store is stocked, and then the egg shelf is the one that's got the least amount of products on it. Of course, there's things in and out of stock though. That's going to be normal in any supermarket. You can see all the different rice and beans and different things if you want to make soups as well here. And there's some noodles and pastas. And my one gripe with every supermarket in Russia is they've got the pasta right here, and they should have next to it the pasta sauces. Now please, Mr. Pyatyorochka owner, can you put the pasta sauces next to the pasta? I'll guarantee you'll increase your sales overnight, because I won't have to hunt in the store for pasta sauce after I've chosen which pasta I like. There is a section here for dried fruits and seeds. Maybe some people like the different sunflower seeds. And cooking oil, 110 rubles. So about $1.30 for a liter of oil. And then other things for baking and cooking. Perhaps flour, sugar, salt, all the essentials. Maybe you can bake a cake. I'm not very much of a chef myself. Probably the least known chef in our household. My wife does pretty much all of that. And then different types of salts. Even there's a choice of salts in this store. And then this final aisle is mostly things in jars and cans. There's also honeys and different jams, relishes, pickled vegetables. And then this is what gets me here. On the other side of the aisle from the pasta, there's the pasta sauce. There's quite a few different choices as well though. But they should be next to pasta. Let me know. Are you on Team Russell that says they should be next to each other? Or are you on Team Pyatyorochka, who likes to separate them? I reckon I could double or triple the sales of pasta sauce just by moving them one aisle over. All the different canned tunas and fish and sprats. Maybe you've had those before. My dad loves these. He has them in Australia. And despite the fact he's never visited Russia, he loves this favorite Russian canned fish. As I get around to the last section of the store and the checkouts, there's an ice cream fridge right here. Now, I don't know how many people buy ice creams in winter, because outside there's snow just piled up and how cold it is. And I think maybe the kids love an ice cream no matter what time of year it is. Different chocolate bars and chewing gums. And then this is something that's very, very Russian. Right at the register here where all of these grab and go items are, you know, chewing gum and candy bars. They've got the jars of caviar, and how convenient it is just to grab a little jar of it. There's the black caviar, red caviar, and then go right to the register and pay for your shopping right here. You'll also see behind the checkout there, they've got tobacco products. They've got them all hidden. They're not allowed to be shown in Russia. I think that's standard everywhere in the world now, that they can't be for public display. And then this store does have self-checkouts, and although it's not my favorite thing in supermarkets, they're definitely in this store, just judging by how big it is. And I'm sure at different times of the day it gets busy, that they utilize these. As I'm just about to leave the store and wrap up the video, I thought I'd just show something that's very interesting. And I wonder if this is somewhere else in the world beyond Russia. Now there's a scale here if you want to check the weight of your fruits or vegetables or candy and make sure it's been weighed correctly. There's this little thing right here. Now if I put the switch on, it's a little bit bright of course, but so you can check the quality of your eggs and to make sure that they're exactly what they say they are on the box. Has anybody seen that somewhere in the world beyond Russia? Have you got one in your local store? I'm very curious. Beanie back on now, and as I head on out of the store, I really hope you've enjoyed this video and this walk around of a Russian typical supermarket. Again, remember, there is 20,000 of these in Russia. So this is really and truly the most typical supermarket throughout the entire country. No matter where you live in Russia, you can find one of these, and normally within walking distance of most micro districts or housing districts. I've actually got a few of these very close to my house. Let me know what you think in the comments. I've asked lots of questions, I point out a lot of stuff, and I think it might be interesting to make that comparison with where you live versus here in Russia. It's getting a little bit darker outside now. I'm slowly going to walk on home from here. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. That's the easiest way to show support for the channel and for videos. Like I said, post a comment and let me know some of your opinions and comparisons. If you'd like to follow me on Telegram, I've got a Telegram channel where you can join in the community of Traveling with Russell and perhaps post some interesting information or a photo, or just reply to the post that I make. If you'd like to see another video on the channel, something a little bit older, perhaps something you've not seen before, I'll pop up a video for you right now. You can click that right away and stay on the channel, enjoy more of Traveling with Russell content. Okay everybody, I'm off on another adventure. Bye.